Thanks for coming, man.
Happy to be here.
Everyone, welcome to the Matt and Alex Experience. Just kidding. The Real Estate Podcast. Appreciate it, man. We're trying to have some fun with it. That's why I say that.
I'm happy to be here, and I've watched a lot of y'all's podcasts. Great content. It's nice to see y'all grow, doing big things. I love both of y'all's stories. I listened to both of y'all's stories. I already knew your story from the first time we met, and then I listened to Alex's story. It's pretty amazing because you're like 26, is it?
Yep, 26.
That's amazing, dude. I barely moved out my mom's house at 26. So,
hey, man,
well,
appreciate that. And I got a little gift. Got some cold beers for us.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, man.
Now we're
you
talking.
like Dos Equis?
I love them.
Come on.
I love all the beers.
Alex is on the sober trend. Respect it a lot.
One of the things that got me in trouble the most in moving to Texas is when I moved here. Oh, yeah. Was I put on about 20 pounds from all the craft beer and barbecue I consumed.
Oh, yeah.
I packed it on quick.
Where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans originally, but I moved to Phoenix in 2003 for 5 or 6 years. And then I was in Vegas for close to 10 years.
How long were you in New Orleans?
I grew up there. So
Nolans.
Yeah, Nolans. I actually grew up just north of New Orleans in a little small town called Ponchatoula, Louisiana.
Ponchatoula.
Yeah, we are the strawberry capital of the world is what we claim, and also the antique capital of the world. So we have the Strawberry Festival every year, and it's the second biggest festival only behind Mardi Gras. So
Really?
Yeah.
Biggest festival
in the state.
in the state.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Nice. I went to I've always wanted to go to Nolans. My grandfather, he's from Louisiana, and we got to go last year for a wedding, and it was a little different than I expected.
It's a cool place.
It is a cool place.
It's a super fun place, man. Like, so that's another thing. Like, growing up there and then living in Vegas for almost 10 years, like, obviously moving to Central Texas, things are a lot different for me here. Like, I'm not used to the whole not being able to buy beer before noon on Sundays because I've waited in that line several times on football Sundays.
And bars don't close at a certain time in Nolans.
No, so most of them, especially around the French Quarter and stuff, even actually in just around the French Quarter, if you're willing to stay and drink and the bartender's willing to keep the bar open, it's open.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was new. I don't drink, and so it was. I go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock. We're at a wedding, so we went out afterwards and everything. And my girl got wasted, and so I had to walk her back through the sea of people on Bourbon Street all the way back to.
Fun.
Yeah, it was. I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more back when I did drink.
I mean, it's definitely a different place, and I will tell you now, like, I love it as a place to visit. When I was there, like, I used to love being in the city all the time and like going down and going to Bourbon Street and going to the Harris Casino and all those things fun. But I don't know, man, it kind of lost its allure to me just because I've been other places now. And then I just realized like how incredibly dirty New Orleans is compared to like most places. I remember when I came to Austin for the first time, it was in like 2010 or 2011, and everybody was like, "You got to go to 6th Street. You got to go to 6th Street." It's like, check it out. So I went, and it was like Bourbon Street, but it was like way cleaner. So it was pretty awesome.
Was maybe
right. It's pretty dirty now. But
I know.
I promise you, dude. New Orleans tops it on. It's like
I believe it. I hear
it's a hundreds of years of
partying.
Yeah.
What I did like about New Orleans was all the architecture. I like that French style.
Yeah.
Those buildings down there.
And the colors. There's lots of colors everywhere.
Yeah. And there's a everybody in New Orleans seems to be in a good mood. When you're walking by, everybody's partying, everybody's in a good mood, everybody is full of energy, and that was different too.
It's pretty amazing, man. Like, so during Mardi Gras times and stuff, they have anytime a jazz band walks by, they can start a second line almost instantly. Like, people will just fall in line and start dancing behind. I think that's amazing. Like, because it's actually one of the spots in New Orleans, or one of the things that happened that people just greatly kind of come together and like forget about everything. And that's kind of what the mantra is around the city. I mean, I feel like it was that way in Southeast Louisiana in general. Like, people are generally nice, and they just want to have a good time. And like, you know, a lot of people down there, you know, they didn't grow up with money. Like, most people I know that are in Louisiana that have money, they work in the oil fields and stuff, and not everybody has those opportunities, and so they just kind of like to forget about those things. Mm-hmm. Like, we laugh about all the time that you know, like, drinking's part of our culture, which, I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah. Is there? I remember, because I've only been there 3 times, but I remember some like nice areas. I mean, is there some big money in certain spots?
There's very big money.
Like old school, had these properties for hundreds of years.
Like, you know, we have Lakeway here. They have you know, Lakeway area over there too, and it's a lot of old money, old houses.
Is it a plantation style houses?
No, like I mean, it's just like older style, like pier and beam, like off the ground kind of, because, you know, just in case of flooding and stuff. Like, my friend who lived in that area, his grandparents gifted him a home for his wedding down there, and it's an awesome place. But man, like, his house is probably like 4 or 5 feet off the ground, and during Katrina, like, he still had like water up to the top of the cabinets. I mean, it's an awful situation, but yeah, there's definitely some big money in some of those little pockets for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's always been money there apparently, but I guess growing up as a kid, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, so I just never knew about it, I guess.
Right. Well, that's a good, I mean, transition a little bit, but I want to go back as well to talk about what you do.
Oh yeah.
But you mentioned something that was pretty cool. You said during these times of COVID, you got yourself out of debt. And so, like, would love to talk about, I guess we'll start from the beginning, like, growing up, you said you didn't have a lot of money. Like, what was that like, and when did you start getting turned on to making money and running a business and stuff like that?
I've always been, like, just a hustling type guy. Like, you know, like, we grew up, and, like, don't get me wrong, like, we weren't, like, dirt poor. Like, you know, we had all the things we needed, but, you know, we never had extra money. You know, like, my wife is from Chicagoland area, and she grew up very different from me. And it's, you know, her parents, her dad owns a business, like an awning business, and he does well. And she was raised, like, there was a game that they used to play when they were kids that was like a banking game. So, like, if they wanted something, like, you know, she had to write her dad a check and out of her little bank and learn finances and stuff at a very young age.
That's
and, like,
cool.
Dude, I didn't know. We didn't have enough money to learn how to finance anything. Or, you know, we couldn't learn finances if you don't have money.
Right.
And so, like, I just always kind of, like, sat back and just thought that's what it was going to be. And, you know, like, all right, well, my options are going to be, I'm going to go work in an oil field, or I'm going to find something else. And I got into restaurants at a young age, and I used to manage a restaurant in high school, which I ended up owning that restaurant for a while afterwards.
Nice.
And
what was that like? I mean,
it was awesome, man. Like, you know, I was 18 when I turned 18. The legal drinking age in Louisiana was still 18, and then I lost it, and then they gave it back to us for like 3 months, and they took it back again. But at 18 years old, and I owning a business, I had a liquor license. I could buy all the beer and stuff I wanted because of my license, my business license, but I was underage. Like, so, like, you know, I would just order kegs for me.
But how did you? So you said you went from being the manager to owning it. Like,
yeah,
what happened there?
So it was really just really luck. Honestly, like, I really worked hard for this restaurant, and these people were like family to me. They wanted to open up a seafood restaurant or seafood market, and basically they were like, "Hey, look, you know, you've been running this restaurant already for, you know, the last 2 years, so we're just going to give you this restaurant, and you basically buy us out for the inventory and take over the note for, you know, the lease and those things." And
this is in Louisiana?
Yeah. And so I did that for a while. It was awesome, but, like, eventually things just fizzled out. I mean, I was young. I didn't know how to manage money. Like, again,
sure,
I didn't know. Finances are so big, man. Like, finances are definitely something that should be implemented in our school systems, because that's a bigger thing than most of the things that they teach us in school.
Totally.
It wasn't until, like, I met my wife that I started learning about finances. You know, which I'll get into eventually, because she used to be a lender in Phoenix back in, like, when they were doing statement loans and stuff. Like, insane.
Yeah.
Insane, dude.
Yeah, we were talking about that on one of our previous ones.
Are you talking about like a stated income loans?
Like, they walk in the door and they're like, I want to buy a house. Like, how much do you make? $10,000 a month. Okay, you're approved. Get a house. It's crazy, dude. I would love to talk about that later, but I want to get back to, like, I guess my story. But, you know, I always knew that I was going to leave Louisiana probably at some point. And I had a friend who got a degree in computer science, and he moved to Phoenix and got a job with IBM. And I wasn't really happy in Louisiana at the time. And he called me up one day and was like, hey, like, you know, me and my girlfriends, you know, me and Meg split up. Would you want to move to Phoenix? I packed up my car and I was there in like 3 days. Like, I immediately just like, yes. And I got out of there. And it was a life-changing experience for me because, for one, it took me out from underneath the wings of, you know, family and being close to people that I'd been around my whole life and my support system, to just throw me out there to having to, you know, do it. Like, you just got to go do it. And I still didn't know a lot, but, you know, I found a Fat Tuesday daiquiri bar in Phoenix, and it was just like a shining light. It was like, oh, you need to go work here. And so I walked in the door, like, I talked to the manager, and like, I got hired on the spot. And I was like, look, dude, I'm like, you could hire me. I got hired as a chicken tender cook for basically like $9 an hour. And I was like, look, I'm like, you could hire me for that, but I'm not going to stay at the bottom long. I'm like, I've been managing restaurants my entire life. I know I could kill this place. And that's basically what happened. And then It took off. And that's the company I was with in Vegas, you know, for a long time. And
I remember you telling me it was a pretty big deal, right?
In Vegas, our store that I was based out of at Planet Hollywood, we did over $4 million a year in revenue with, daiquiris, dude. It's 20-ounce frozen drink. Well, we had the big giant ones too, but it was a lot of revenue. And then combined, like the 5 stores we had probably did like $13 million. It's insane.
Yeah, that's big time.
Big time.
Hundreds and hundreds a day.
And like daiquiri business is such a low cost. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do.
Some daiquiri machines.
Yeah, that's the most expensive
Liquor.
part.
Yeah. The labor.
Yeah. But yeah, I learned a lot through that process.
So you went from Arizona to Vegas with this company, and they were like, hey, we got an opportunity in Vegas, and you jumped on it?
Yeah, so it was announced that our store in Phoenix was going to close, which, I loved because eventually I worked my way into bartending, which I absolutely loved. And because I'm a lot like Matt. I love talking to people. And in fact, like how we actually met.
I love how we met.
How we met is I Teifke'd him.
He did. He got me.
I
think you're one of the few people that ever got me.
I hit him up, and I was like, I always saw him on like the local realtor groups and stuff, like always just trying to help people and like be helpful. And like I was just like, man, I gotta hook up with this dude. And so I hit him up on like Facebook because we were friends, and I was like, hey, I'm like, I see you on there always trying to help people. I'm like, I feel like I got to meet you. So, like, do you want to go have a beer or something? And we did. We met up at Deckhands, and had some beer. And, like, kind of like as a real estate photographer, I was also had in the back of my mind, like, you work for, you owned a property management company, which I shoot for a couple of other ones. But, and then Andrew showed up and like ruined everything because he's like, oh, I do the marketing, and he's all like with his awesome mustache and stuff. So I was like, all right, can't take his job for sure.
No, that's cool though.
Yeah, no, and I honestly like I've only got to hang out with Matt a couple of times, but we're the same person. The difference is that you learn how to put your people's skills like to use way earlier than I did. Part of my story really didn't begin until like Austin for me, really. Like when I got here in October of 2015
from Vegas.
And
how did you pick Austin?
We came here in like 2010 or 2011 to visit, and we loved it. Cool. Like we always wanted to come back here, but we never knew how we were going to get here because my job and my wife's job, we didn't know how we were going to get here. But I had a friend who did a sales job here. We worked it out to where I can get a sales job with him. Everyone in the office where he worked at was making like 100, 200K.
Nice.
And I was like, well, this is it. Like, this is our chance. So we put our house in the market, and that was our first step into real estate, by the way.
Let's go.
We had a...
hey, cheers to that, man. Come on.
That we had a friend that listed our house. Like, you know, we did a lot of work on our house, and we knew it was going to sell fast. But we hired a friend with a boutique brokerage to sell it, and it sold in 3 days. And so then I came out 3 months early to start my job. Jamie stayed behind with our 2 kids for, 3 months after that, and then they came out. And we bought a house here, which we had to buy as an investment property because we had to use my wife's income in Vegas to be able to buy it because I was changing industries, so I couldn't use any of my income. And so we had to buy it at a slightly higher interest rate. But dude, we bought a massive house here in 2015 for, in my opinion, next to nothing. Like, we bought a 3,800 square foot house.
Yeah.
For like less than $300,000.
Nice.
Yeah, it's amazing.
$80-something per square foot.
But that whole process was, it started with us selling our house, and then Jamie was like, "Well, when I get to Austin," she's like, "I think I want to get into real estate." I really liked that whole process, and her mom was a real estate agent at one point, and so I'm like, cool. So I'm doing my thing over at the my sales job, which was phone sales, by the way. So I've never done sales in my life, but I remember the interview, the guy that was doing the hiring was like, he wasn't sold on me, and I tried to explain it to him, and then he was like, well, I don't know if you're cut for this job. And then I sold myself to him, and bam, I got hired, I got the job. Things didn't work out, and honestly, out of all the things I've ever done in my life, that's probably the one thing that I really feel like I kind of failed at, but not necessarily. Like, the job wasn't really for me, but I wasn't really that great at it either. But I learned how to call people relentlessly. I learned some sales techniques because realistically, those guys are some of the best sales guys. They take everything and know how to twist it. All the guys that I worked with, they're amazing salespeople.
What were y'all selling?
It's a precious metals firm. So they do a lot of gold, silver, platinum type stuff.
Was it like you watched South Park?
Yeah.
Was it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Is it like that?
It was kind of like that. It was really it was like boiler room atmosphere, the way they ran it, which I thought was awesome. You know what I'm saying? The energy. I remember walking in that room for the first time, and the energy to me was insane. Like, guys are walking around with headsets on, doing phone calls, and asking for $50,000 over a credit card, nothing. And I'm like,
Visa or MasterCard?
This is amazing. I've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
But ultimately the job didn't work out for me, but I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot. And so the calling people, I've always been great with people, but I didn't know how to do sales type stuff. And I don't like being the pushy type sales guy either, which is kind of why I love the real estate part of it, because I remember when I sold my first house after I got licensed, I genuinely felt like I helped someone. I helped them find a house they were super happy with, and I was like, man, this is what it's about. That was a different feeling.
So are you and your wife both agents?
Yes, she got licensed immediately when we got here, and for the first 2 years she didn't do a ton, but so we're yin and yang. She is the analytics person and the paperwork person, and I am I'm the people person. I love to talk to people, and she loves to do all the contract stuff. She's a contract genius. In fact, I was showing her the little strategy about the
objections. Come on.
And she was like, hold on. And she has this little book, which I actually ordered you guys this book for this. I sent it to the Piccadilly address.
Okay, cool, man.
So,
thank you.
So I sent it. It's under your name. It's Reba Saxon's 32 Outs for a Buyer. And
nice.
So one of the things that she immediately pulled out was buyer it was out number 1, and she pointed that out to me, and she was like, I thought I saw this somewhere, but she wasn't sure, and she wasn't really aware about the objection thing. But she's a contract guru, dude. She knows all the ins and outs. So, while she struggled, at the same time, I'm starting to do real estate photography on my own, which was a whole other thing. I'm totally self-taught there. I started with doing Matterport because one of my friends started posting some Matterport stuff, and opened up a Matterport link one day, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. If I would have had this while we were looking at houses in Austin, I could have saved myself from looking at a lot of houses, because so many houses I couldn't piece together the floor plan by the pictures. So once I get there and see it, I'm like, I don't like it, and it was done. Well, so we got started doing Matterport, and then we realized, like, in a market like Austin where it's super hot, agents don't necessarily want to spend the money on those types of things. So I had to learn how to do photography. So got on YouTube and started learning how to do photography, and lo and behold, I'm in my 4th year, and I'm expanding at this point. So, and I love that too. So it's a great thing for me. It's a great thing for Jamie because it keeps us entrenched in real estate because she has a contract to close business. I have my real estate photography business, and then we do real estate on the side together.
Nice.
And it's awesome because we get to work together, and like, we're a couple that genuinely like to hang out with each other, and we make fun of each other constantly, which is awesome.
Nice.
We just have that kind of relationship. Not many people can work with their spouses.
Yeah, it ain't easy, for sure, man. It's because it's a business partner that never goes away,
right?
And so,
I mean, it's like one of those scenarios where, like, when you agree, it's great, but if you have a disagreement, it's like might get a loaf of bread flying at your head or something.
So what was the moment you said, you didn't have too much of a financial background? Like, what was the light bulb? Was there a light bulb moment? And you're like,
yeah, I mean,
damn, I get it.
Honestly, it was working at the gold place, essentially, because I started talking to a lot of guys on the phone, who were buying metals as a way to hedge, so when the stock market is booming, gold is down. And when the stock market is, there's things going on that are concerns, gold skyrockets. Like right now, gold's up, Bitcoin's through the roof right now again.
What is Bitcoin at? Anyone know? Do you know?
It was at like 15 or so recently.
I thought it was at 18 because we were just talking about it yesterday.
Wasn't 20 the high or something?
Yeah,
25
like December
or something
17 was the high at 20, which I know.
Dude, I remember I don't like to buy when something's going up because that's just not the time to buy. Right. But I remember I was like itchy when it started going to 20. They were talking about it going to 100. I'm like, I gotta buy some, man. And I started seeing these Bitcoin. I remember seeing Spider House downtown.
Yeah.
If you guys, there was a Bitcoin ATM. I'm like, oh my god, it's happening,
dude.
I'm so glad I didn't buy at that time.
We've been using Bitcoin. I mean, me
and
a few
actually
friends.
use it?
Yeah, I've used Bitcoin for, probably more than 10 years.
Wow.
But like it wasn't. It was used for different things. Then compared to now. Like now, poker sites take Bitcoin because it's easier transactions for them. I've seen house transactions done with Bitcoin, which is crazy to me. But I mean, it's another thing though. Like so, but that's again like the gold thing. Like learning that little aspect of like investments, opened up my eyes to like, okay, well, if that works like this, what else works this way? And then getting licensed and meeting people like guys like yourselves who are buying up real estate and investing in their future. That's something I've always wanted to do. I have an aunt that was a broker for Remax forever, and she owns a ton of rental properties, and now she's just sitting back collecting checks on these properties that have been paid for years.
It's pretty awesome, man, and I think about it all the time. Like, we're obviously in a great market, but you got a house that's worth $200,000 in Austin, Texas. There's a good chance it's going up $20,000 per year. That's real money you're making while you're sitting right here, and you got 20 of them. I mean,
it's been amazing to see, man. Because so when we came here in 2011 to visit and we loved it, we sold our house and moved here without coming back first. And like when we got here, Austin was completely different. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same already after 4 years, and like now 5 years later after that, it's changed tremendously again. I mean,
Can you remember what you noticed changed?
Yeah,
because living here my whole life, I mean, obviously stuff's changed, but it's like
It was to me, it was much more laid back. Like the first time we came here, like it was more of it was everything you've ever heard about Austin. Like flip flops and jeans and like taking it easy and hanging out and just kind of all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what we loved about it. And then when we came back, like it still had that vibe and that feeling. But it was getting more serious. You could tell it was getting more serious because businesses were coming in. Like certain areas were changing. Like Rainy Street was amazing when I came here. Like in 2015 and checked it out. I was like, this is awesome. But it was getting more serious. And like when we bought our house in 2015, you could buy a house in Pflugerville still for about $175. Hutto you could buy for about $110 to $120, and Taylor you could buy for under $100,000. Now Pflugerville, you're not finding pretty much anything less than $220. Even Hutto now is hitting probably like $210 and up pretty consistently, and Taylor is starting to creep up to like close to 200 and low 200s. So I mean that's just in 5 years.
Right.
It's grown tremendously. And like, initially we looked in Cedar Park and Lakeway and all those areas, and the taxes were another big thing for me here because in Phoenix where we owned the home, in Vegas where we owned the home, your property taxes are religiously 1%. Never changes.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Never changes. So like we knew it was going to be higher here,
yeah,
but we didn't know to what point of, how it fluctuated because our agent was not good here and didn't explain all those things to us.
You get that first tax bill.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, we were like, what? What do you mean my note's going to go up if I don't pay this? You're crazy. I have a fixed mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We weren't ready for that one.
Yeah, it's and I heard actually this guy we had on, Jeremy, not a couple of days ago that we're going to release, but he follows these propositions. I don't honestly follow him that close, but he was talking about Prop A and Prop B and how there's been this kind of standstill for a little bit on the taxes. He said it's going to go up a lot.
It's just crazy. So Austin is the only city that I've ever lived in where all the money is in the middle of the city. And the people who don't have money keep getting pushed out of the city because usually it's just the opposite because people who don't have money need the infrastructure of the city to get around and travel, have jobs close by so they can access them and things. Whereas Austin is the opposite of that where, the closer you get to downtown, the more bills you're forking out to like get it.
Right.
And it's super expensive. And then like, so you run into situations which, I run into it probably once a week where I photograph a house for someone who's been in this house in like 748 forever. Their house is paid for, but they're retired and they're on a fixed income, so they can't afford to pay the taxes on it all the time anymore. It's like, it's $800 a month for just the taxes.
Right.
So then they sell that house for a fortune and then move out to like Rockdale or somewhere, make it easy.
Yeah, it is interesting. I haven't looked too much into it, but the whole, no state income tax, and it's kind of made up on property taxes. But I used to think about it, and I was like, man, you could like make all this money and go buy $1 million house and retire. But no, you got to pay $30,000 a year to live there.
It's taxes.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah, we weren't ready for that one. So that was a big shocker for us moving here too. But
just rent where you live. And then rent out your investments.
That's what he believes in. I had a meeting yesterday. I'm doing this thing called Leadership Round Rock. And, dude, it's pretty cool, like, learning about what Round Rock's doing. Like, I love Round Rock, and they're pretty forward-thinking as far as the city. If they were showing us some stuff, like, half of the revenue from taxes in Round Rock comes from residential, and the other half comes from businesses. And they're like, this is an unheard-of mix. Like, in Cedar Park and Lander, it's like 80% comes from residential. So having that 50-50 is like really, really good for homeowners because it helps keep it down.
Right.
And I was like, man, that's really cool. And a big part of that is from Dell, paying their taxes. Dell pays Round Rock a ton of money every year. So anyways, it's a Round Rock's a great place, man. And I feel like people from Austin, like, they I'm not going to go past the wall or past 183. And
right.
I'm like, man, there's a lot going on, but I look at the whole Central Texas market.
Right.
Like, I love Hutto, Pflugerville, Cedar Park.
Eventually, like, everywhere between South Austin and San Antonio will be connected with homes and businesses and
Round Rock to Temple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole thing,
It's definitely going that route. And, I mean, our economy is strong. We have a lot of jobs coming. And jobs are what makes the world go around when it comes to, like, real estate and economy. So that's great for all of us as long as these big companies keep coming.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And like you said, like, I feel very lucky that, a big reason why I turned on to real estate so early is because I was able to see it with my mom.
Yeah.
And so regardless of like when you started, who cares, right? There's
Right.
like, there's such a long runway. I mean, the way I'm looking at it is we got 30 years of growth.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm, definitely drinking the Kool-Aid. Could be wrong, but I got some
drinking
things
the Kool-Aid
to
with you, man, because I think you're dead on, because honestly, like I have a lender friend in Seattle, and like he's a great lender. He's amazing. I ask him questions all the time, like just about stuff, and he can answer them quickly. But like he was one of the guys who was like, he's very concerned about like where things are going to head, and I'm just like, man, I just can't see that. I mean, I could be wrong too. Like, it could all blow up in my face, but I mean, like I didn't cash out any equity in my house or anything, so like I still have.
That's right, and that's the whole thing is like, who cares? Like I'm not going and betting on everything to happen. I'm just trying to keep my head down and take advantage.
I like
of
to think of it. I think it's just about being more positive, thinking about the situation, because yes, if something goes south here, obviously we're all going to try to pivot and do whatever it takes to do to survive. Like, we'll be doing REOs or whatever we'll be doing, but regardless of what it takes, we'll figure it out. But at this point, like I just think that this is crazy what I've been seeing here, and I see a lot of houses. I see more houses than probably 90% of agents, just because I photograph 20 or more houses in a week a lot of times, and so I'm in and out of houses constantly, and I'm talking to agents, and I'm like, hey, what did this house sell for? Or what are you listing for? Yeah. Hey, what did that house sell for last week? I constantly get information, which, kind of in a roundabout way, like I got educated about being a realtor from being a photographer, because I was just around realtors.
Thinking outside the box, asking questions.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because I never intended on getting licensed, and my wife just made the suggestion, like, hey, you should get licensed. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I'll help her out with showings and stuff. And then I got in, and we realized that we needed each other. Like I don't want to do paperwork. She loves it. She's good with it.
Divide and conquer, man.
I love to talk to people. Like I could sit down with people for the first time and like make them feel comfortable with me. And so once people agree to work with us, then typically Jamie takes the reins and runs with it. We do showings. Sometimes we do showings with me or just her. Sometimes it's me, her, and the kids. I mean,
so y'all operate as like a team of real estate agents?
Absolutely. And it works for us because we are a family. We want to show our kids that we work as a family. Family is important to us, but it's also important to kind of instill some, like, expose them to real estate.
Yeah.
Because, had Jamie not decided to get into real estate, like, I've always looked at real estate as something that I would never do. Like, it's way too professional for me. And I just never saw it happening because I didn't want to wear a suit. I didn't want to show up in slacks and stuff every day. Not anything against that. And like, I feel perfectly comfortable like dressing up, but it's not who I am. And like, we've had this conversation as well, because one of the things that I got involved in real estate, and then I was adamant about, look, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be me. So half the time when I show up to my meetings with clients, like, I know my audience, so if I need to dress up, I will. But most times I'm going to probably show up to a meeting and at best like a button up with jeans and Chucks on, and I might have my sleeves rolled up or something. And that's usually about as dressed up as I get, which my opinion is that if you let people see you for who you are, then, and they still want to work with you, then you're never have to worry about that person ever wanting to work with anybody else, because you're going to be friends. Like it's the strongest bond you can make with anyone in any kind of relationship, as far as like a business relationship. Just be yourself. Like I never wanted to be out somewhere. Like I don't want to be out at my local watering hole or something and like having a good old time, and then all of a sudden like one of my clients walk in and I have to straighten up and be someone I'm not. Like I just don't want to do that. I've never wanted to do that.
I think that it gives you a sense of anxiety and fear if you are like being somebody you're not.
I feel like I don't know what I'm doing when I'm doing that. Like, like I prefer to just let people know who I am and what I'm about, and then and we go from there. Because most times, like, I relate to a lot of people, and that's another part of where we're a lot alike, because we're such people persons. I relate to everyone. It could be the bartender in me for forever and ever, like just learning how to talk to people comfortably and things like that. But I don't know. Like I love the people portion of it.
Yeah.
So
that's what it's all about, man. I mean, it makes it fun. Get to meet great people and build friendships and make money at the same time and help them make money. I mean, all around win-win.
I love it. I mean, like, so the whole, like, the unprofessional thing, like, one of my biggest compliments I've ever gotten from a client within real estate was there was a young couple that I put out an ad on Facebook, like, to, attract some buyers or something. And this young couple hit me up, and they moved here from Corpus Christi. And they had just canceled the contract on the house because they kept telling their realtor and their lender, like, look, we need our note to be XX per month, or, we can't afford anything else.
Did you say XX?
Yeah, I'll take one. So they get to the closing table, and the note is, it's just ice.
I thought it was ruptured.
Yeah. Here, here's ice back. They had to cancel their contract because when they got to the closing table, basically the note was going to be way higher than what it was supposed to be. And so they had to cancel it, and they fired their agent. And then they found me on Facebook, like through my little ad, and they wanted to meet up with me. So we met at a coffee shop. I showed up in a Blue Bonnet Brewery T-shirt and some jeans and Chucks, and I sat there and I talked with them throughout the whole process. I broke it down because I feel like Jamie and I are really good at breaking down things for first-time home buyers and stuff. And at the end of it, she's like, man, this was really easy. She's like, you're like so unprofessional and easy to talk to. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can market that. But if I can, I'm like, I would definitely market the unprofessional professional.
Hey, you can get away with that's what I love about Austin too. Like,
yeah.
I feel like it's different in Dallas.
I agree.
Probably opposite.
And that's part of it is I feel like because it's Austin, I'm able to do that. Like if I were in Dallas or something, I don't know that I can show up to meeting in jeans and T-shirt and people just be perfectly fine with it.
I agree. Unless you're a billionaire, right?
Right.
I don't think. I think it depends on what you're doing, and I don't think that it really matters anyways, right? Like they want to work with you because of your skills as a realtor,
right?
Not because of what you're wearing.
True,
but it's true. But different cities do have these different cultures. Like when I was working at a company called Edge, we had an Austin office and Dallas and Houston and California, and like the Dallas guys were so different than the Austin guys.
I compare Dallas to the Chicago of the South.
Yeah,
I mean
New York.
Realistically, that's what it's like to me. But like I feel like part of the Austin thing had a lot to do with me being able to pull that off regularly. And which I love because it fits me, and I don't want to be anyone I'm not. I just want to be me and do my thing and talk to people and make friends. And like honestly, like every time I make a client, I really make a new friend because I'm one of those agents that will friend all my clients on social media, and because they already know who I am, so I don't have to hide anything. So I'm not concerned with them seeing me posting stupid stuff because they already know I'm stupid sometimes.
Well, hey, I want a quick story because I just thought about this. Devin the Dude. You hung out with him.
I hung out with Devin the Dude in Phoenix in a parking lot, which oddly enough, I bought a 79 Coupe de Ville in L.A. So I flew out to L.A., bought a 79 Coupe de Ville, and drove it back to Phoenix where I was at. I opened up the garage door, pulled that bad boy in the garage, hit the button to go walk in the door, and the garage door closed in the middle of the trunk. It was a boat, dude. It was so big. So, like, yeah, we went to a concert, like a little small show, and I got to hang out with Devin and friends, and we went outside.
Do things that Devin does.
We did some things that Devin does, like on the hood of my 79 Coupe de Ville, which was amazing. So
that's awesome, man. I went to a concert in high school that he was at in Austin. Kind of random story, but my buddy, like, and he wasn't even partying or anything, and his like knees locked up because he was sitting still. It's Jake Smithy, and fell face forward and cracked all his teeth in the middle of the concert. It was insane, man.
It gets hot. Where was that at Emos?
I can't remember. Maybe I can't remember.
So they usually do emos or stubs,
dude. But it was like the people that came on before him were trash. They were literally like doing the whole throwing money thing out. They were doing $1 bills. It's just like 8 rappers from Houston, all of them all at one time. I was like,
you're not talking about the Coffee Brothers, are you?
No. They were with Devin. That was awesome.
Yeah. No, like that was a fun experience because I have been listening to him. That's another thing though, man. So like that his music to me played a big part because it was just very laid back, and it's always been very laid back and just about doing what you do, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's always
do what you want to do.
That's always been my mantra. Like I just kind of go be me, and sometimes things work, sometimes things don't, but realistically, I get to be me.
You forget what people think, man. It's interesting because I've been thinking about this lately, and someone said something earlier. It's like, you see me maybe like doing all these different businesses, and people judge that, you know. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
I mean, why? I mean, dude,
they do.
I'm sorry,
it's
you're
not
mad because I'm trying to be successful. Like,
yeah, but and honestly, like, I can understand it a little bit if you're just like pitching stuff all the time, but like I'm really doing stuff I believe in.
I know, but another part of it too, though, is that you position yourself, like which I've discussed, like how you position yourself within those businesses is like you're doing one job essentially for
I'm not. Alex
jobs.
and I aren't swinging any hammers, but we own a construction company.
Right. No, you're doing it the right way in my opinion because you're. See, that was the thing where I failed at because I always knew I had great people skills because for whatever reason, man, like I've always gotten along with people really well, and people have always just told me like, man, you're a cool dude, man. Like, so I always make friends with a lot of people, but I didn't know how to use that. Like, so then when I started bartending, I was like, oh, well, maybe this is how I'm supposed to use this because I get to talk to these people all the time.
Who had said that recently? I know today, but who had said that prior to today?
Nobody other than prior to today. I just know that other people perceive that. I just know it.
They think you're in too much? Is that what I mean? Like involved in too many things?
Yeah. Like I might post something about Ruckify or cannabis or construction or management or brokerage or whatever it may be. Like what other thing? It's like I want to do as much as I can, and I'm not trying to do anything I don't believe in. That's for sure. Like I'm not going around selling stuff that I don't put my name on. Everything I do, I believe in. Well,
I'm gonna tell you, man. Like, I will notate the fact that you surround yourself with very solid people. Like, I've connected with several of your friends, and I mean, even like your mom and stuff, and like hung out with them. Like, everybody you surround yourself with is amazing.
Well, that's this new thing I've been talking about too. Is I've got this concept. You might have heard me say this, but you heard the term Foxhole guy. You ever heard of that?
I heard you say that on one of the.
It's like who do you want in your foxhole in war? And my whole concept is like, not only do I want to be that person and be around that type of person, but I don't really want to hang around anyone that I wouldn't want in my foxhole. What's the point? No, Why do I want to be sitting across from someone for any time of any day that I don't trust and believe has my back? And also, I could be wrong for this, but I start off with full trust. Like I trust, you don't have to build trust with me.
I'm the same.
Yeah, I don't have to build trust with someone. They have all my trust in the world, and then if certain things start happening,
chipping away at it, then that's a different story.
But it's not. I don't trust you until you prove to me something, because I don't want other people to treat me like that.
Right. No, I'm the same way. So I go into it with like open arms, and like how you react to me, or how you treat me, or the things that you do that I see, or those all affect that.
Yeah.
But I'm just the same exact way. Like, it's so funny to me because like I've been listening to all y'all's podcasts for like the last week and a half or so.
We appreciate that, by the way. We don't always know who's listening, but we keep doing it. Sometimes we're like, man, no one's listening.
But no, like it's awesome because like, man, I got to listen to you speak because I already had a lot. I mean, I had premonitions already that you and I are a lot alike because I just feel like I've even told you like hey, we're people connectors. Like we should get together and connect some people because whenever I find someone that is I deem as like someone I want to surround myself with, I don't let those people go.
Right.
Like Fernando, for instance. I've been trying to get him to let me come hang out with him, but like
he's not responding.
He's like, no, he's responding. He's like, dude, I'm busy right now. Like,
keep doing that. Keep doing that.
I'm just saying, like,
let's go
when I find those people though, like I want to hang on to those good people because those are the types of people that I want to surround myself with.
Right.
Like, you know, guys like y'all that are doing things and like not just talking about it, but actually doing it. And like, I can learn something from. I always try to like surround myself by people that I can learn something from.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope I'm able to provide value to them as well.
Right.
Even if it's just for a good laugh or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Being a dumbass, whatever it is I can help with, I'm happy to do. But I just try to surround myself with the best people possible.
Life's too short, man. You know, and that's what it is like, there is no finish line. I'm having time of my life right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what day it is. But like
that's COVID talking.
I mean, I'm just like, you know, it's not like I'm counting down for Saturday. I really enjoy this. We're having beers, talking real estate,
right.
Making friendships, putting out content, being us, wearing what we want to do, putting our hats the way we want to. Like, that's the entrepreneur life that I'm about. Like, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do, and I don't want to tell anyone else what to do. And to get there, like, you got to go and put in the work, and like, dude, it takes time.
I love it. Love it, because I'm also the person who will walk into a, you know, bar or restaurant, or hang out at a bar at a restaurant, or just in general, like a group of people at a birthday party or something, and start talking to other dads, and like, before I know it, like, you know, I'm hanging out with those people too, because I find some kind of common ground constantly with people. And it could just be, I mean, I've surrounded myself with a lot of like different types. Like, I came from, you know, not wealthy background, but I also grew up like with some pretty wealthy friends, and I paid attention to their families and like, you know, how they operated. And you know, through bartending, I hung out with gazillion, especially in Vegas, man. Bartending in Vegas, like, you meet so many people, and like, because of that, I actually have friends like all over the world, because they would come into Vegas and like coming out with me. It's funny, like,
cool.
So I used to have a name tag. I wish I brought it with me, but so my name tag at work used to say drunk ass D on it. And I was like, we all had like I guess it was like our stage names basically, with, you know, no glitter. But
where were you working at? What was it called?
It's Fat Tuesday Daiquiri Bar.
Tuesday,
it was in Vegas. So like, the one I was at, it was in Planet Hollywood. But man, I got our turnover was, I mean, we just burned through so many clients like constantly. Like, I met so many cool people that were there for you know, EDC, or they were there for a convention, or they were there for whatever it may be. You know, there's lots of conventions that go in there, so we meet all types of people all the time, and I'm still friends with a lot of those people, which is amazing, because I have connections to people that are in vastly different places that I would never imagine going to, or involved in like businesses that I would have never thought, you know, being involved in either. But I mean, you know, you just never know where you're going to end up at. The main thing is just kind of keep an open mind to things, and follow your gut, follow your heart, whatever you want to call it. Just kind of go with it, because you never know where you'll end up at and what you'll end up be doing. But if you're going to do it, go hard at it, for sure.
100%, man. You got to make sacrifices. And one thing that someone said on our previous podcast, and I think it gets lost in the mix, I haven't heard it in a while, it's like, first of all, there's a lot of good people out there. Like, that's kind of what, you know, we're all about, getting around these people and growing together. But with all the, you know, chaos and divide in the country, you know, this guy was like, you know, despite all this, like, we live in the greatest place in the world, and there's still opportunity, and nobody's really talking about that anymore. And it was like really refreshing to hear that. He's like, traveled all around the world, it's still the best place to be. Yeah. And regardless of what you hear on the media and all this stuff, you're talking to people, I'm talking to people, you're talking to people. I mean, we talk to people that have completely different political views than us every day. And we're not sitting here like what the media likes to portray, and like, you know, we hate each other. Right. But that's a perception of what's going on.
Yeah, but, well, you know, a lot of that probably has to do with media, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because it's a deep one. But, I mean, realistically, man, people, in my opinion, I talk to people of all shapes, colors, sizes, and races, and all those things. And honestly, man, everybody I talk to just really wants to get along for the most part. I mean,
I agree.
I don't see anybody, like, in HEB fighting because of, like, you know, whatever. Well, yeah. You know, but again, people need to stay in their own lane, which people don't do a lot of these days. People want to tell people how to do their life, right? And people just need to worry about themselves. So.
I agree. And I mean, our brokerage, we got 40-something agents. We got all kinds of races and gender, and, you know, nobody's having any issues. We got black, Hispanic, female.
But you surrounded yourself with a lot of good people, and I would imagine you attract more good people because people like myself would want to work with you because of the fact of who you are, how you act, how you treat people, and how you do business.
Right. And the point of that is like giving that value to listeners, to other people. Like, just be the Foxhole person. Like, go help people, build real relationships, play the long game. You know.
No, dude, I love the relationships part because
makes it fun, dude.
I just
some beers.
I just love like talking to people and like I love getting their stories more. Like I still want to like I'll talk to you privately one day or so, but I still want some of your backdrop of how like you really got started into it eventually.
We can talk about it right now if you want to.
Yeah, because like I know that like you came in as a partner and like so what was it that what was your first property or what was it that got you started and how did you get started
in real estate?
Yeah,
the first property was a property that we still own called White Brush. Matt and I had been investing in stocks, not necessarily together like in a fund or anything, but we were each trading our own stock accounts, talking every day about it. And he just said, hey, come buy this property with me. He said, go 50-50 with me. I got it. Here's a price, blah, blah, blah. And that was the first real estate deal.
Tell them about the first.
Did you start with Matt then?
Yep.
Okay. I was wondering.
We actually grew up together too.
Well, I know. I knew that part. Like, so, like, I thought that maybe you were doing some things on your own, and then you came in and like kind of met back up and was like, hey, this is a good fit type thing.
I have solely been under the Matt Teifke Real Estate way. No, man. I mean,
he was like my protege, and then now he's surpassing me. So.
I would study real estate, and but I had never done a deal. Really, never. I always was interested in real estate, but never really dove into it until Matt said, "Hey, come this way."
But you were telling me that you wanted to get into it.
But realistically, though, I mean, like, who really like? I mean, you made the comment previously that I believe in, like, you didn't think that was necessarily true, but I feel like if you're not exposed to real estate in some capacity, like realistically, your odds of ever getting involved in real estate are very low.
That's honestly a big part of why we do this. Seriously, like we want to get the message out that anybody can buy real estate.
It's facts.
It is, and people don't realize that.
I mean, so I guess my eye opener, like to get started within real estate too, was so I had always been a renter. I was always going to be a renter. I didn't never plan on doing anything else. My wife was a lender in in Phoenix during like the boom. They were doing some crazy stuff. But like it was basically, hey, you want a house? Here's 2 houses. Here you go. Like they were flipping houses before they were even built, and it was crazy. But like I was like, I'm not buying a house. And she had bought a house in Phoenix in like 2003, and at one point in time, up to like 2006 or 2007, the value of that house, she paid like $130 for it. The value of it went up to like $360. And she could have like cashed out, refied or something like everybody else was doing, but she didn't, thank God, because when the shit hit the fan, she was basically the only house in her neighborhood that didn't get foreclosed on, and everybody else's was like foreclosed on, and they were ripping out like all the appliances and all the copper tubing and getting whatever money they could out of it. It was crazy. But then like we had that, and then we went to Vegas, and then we were in Vegas when the bottom of the market fell out, and so even there, like I had one of my best friends. He was 28 at the time, just bought his first house. He was all proud of his bought his house, family for his house for his family, and then the shit hit the fan, and then the house that he just paid $240,000 for now is worth $40,000, and the house across his street. From where he lived at was the exact same house, and it just got auctioned off for like $45,000. And here he is; he's got a $240,000 note hanging over his head, and he's like, "What am I supposed to do now?" Like, so he ended up having to walk away from it. Well, we were in the fortunate position of like being able to buy after all that happened, and so we bought a foreclosure. We actually lost out on probably 15 houses, man, because like a lot of people from California were coming in and snatching up a lot of properties for cash. So we kept losing out on offers. And then one that we got, we actually lost on, and they called us back 2 weeks later and was like, hey, do y'all want to, y'all's backup offer was y'all's was the second best. Are y'all still interested? And we're like, what house is this again? Like, we had to go look at it again.
Because y'all were making
we
so
looked
many
at so many
offers.
houses and made so many offers. So we went and we checked it out, and we were like, we're going to do this. So the house that we bought 2 years previously had sold for $450,000. It was a 2,400 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Had a pool and hot tub in the backyard. Wasn't landscaped in the backyard, but had the pool and hot tub and stuff all there. And we bought it for $212. And then we, fixed it up and made a giant gangster closet out of a loft that my wife still misses to this day. But then, when we came time to sell it, that's when it hit me. That's when it hit me that, like, everybody needs to buy a house.
Yeah.
Because I bought this house in 2009. We sold it in October of 2015, and we bought it for $212. We had it for 6 years. We didn't have a high interest rate either. We paid a lot of it off, and we sold it for $308. It was like the highest any house in our neighborhood had sold for at that point. If we still had that house today, it would sell for like probably close to $400,000. But we were happy.
Think you
like
get $420 for it?
Yeah, we made a bundle off of that house, and that was able to help us move here and put 20% down on our house here.
Right.
And like that was the eye opener for me. And I share that as a real estate agent. I share that with all of my clients and tell them my story because it's an absolute necessity. Because I mean, I know you follow the Uncle G stuff, which I love Uncle G, by the way, too. So I listen to a lot of Uncle G. So, but like that was one of the things for me though was buying a house because you're going to be paying rent regardless, right?
That's what I say. We have different views, but my thing is,
I don't understand. Like,
I just say you're either paying your mortgage or you're paying someone else's mortgage.
You mean you're using your credit to make sure you buy stuff to make money off of? Because
so it's not even Uncle G necessarily.
It is Uncle G.
It's not even before Uncle G. It was Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh yeah.
And so I have I've never had this fascination or this dream of like buying my house and living in my house and like doing the whole American dream house thing. My girl has that dream. Seems like everybody else has that dream. I don't need much. Like you could give me a closet, and I'm straight. And so I never had this dream of a big house. And so it just never made sense to me to buy a house. The one time I was interested in buying a house was when Matt was telling me he helped. This is way before we ever did anything. He was telling me he helped a friend of ours buy a house that was, $10,000 below asking or whatever. And so that friend, essentially made $10,000 upon purchase. And I was like, well, then I've always looked at it from an investment point of view. Whenever I have money, I always look at it as how can I grow this money? How can it start making me more money? And I understand that you can, like in situations like that, right? But to me, I'd rather just pay the $800 a month that I currently spend, and I'll take that, $30,000 that I put on a down payment or that $60,000, and I'll go put it into this property, and then that property can start paying me immediately.
$800 a month. Where the hell are you living? Down on 183 in the tents?
He actually lives in a closet.
No, we live in a nice
closet.
we live in a nice apartment, but
gnome.
my girl pays half of our rent, so I pay half. She pays half.
Okay, I got you. I mean, for me though, that was the thing. Is like I saw like all those. I really got mad at myself at that point because for one, honestly, I would have never been able to buy a house because I wasn't even financially responsible until I got my wife, and like even now I'm not. It's just because she is. I'm financially responsible by it just rubs off, I guess. But like I would have never been able to buy it, but it would get me mad because I'm like, man, like all these years I paid rent, and like here I am. I could have been paying into some equity at least, and like I felt better about that, and like that was like a savings account basically for me because if I was paying rent regardless, like I'd rather go toward my equity. And like, granted, like, you know, if it was an unfortunate situation like my friend who bought a house and then now like he's turned upside down, I would probably have a lot of like a whole different taste in my mouth compared to what happened to me, because I was on the opposite end where I bought at low and I sold pretty high. But then we moved here, you know, and like, so my run just kept going. Like, we got a great house here for a good price. Like, we have a lot of equity in our house. Like, we plan on staying in that house because we plan on raising our kids there, and it makes a lot of sense for us. Like,
I get it, man. And what I'll say is both sides of the rent versus buy argument.
Right.
Neither of them are blanket statements.
right, and yeah, neither of them are wrong either. So
neither of them are wrong.
it's just your philosophy. What philosophy you go by?
It's just my personal preference. If I would have bought the house that, you know, if I would have bought a house to live in, which I couldn't have even if I wanted to,
right,
because of credit and everything.
Right.
I have good credit, but you know, I don't have the 2 years to show. Blah, blah, blah. Banks don't want to give me a home loan or a mortgage. So
stated income's out the door.
Yeah, stated income's out the door. Right?
I make $1 million.
So I probably would not own 16 units. I'd probably own one house.
That's so awesome, man.
You got to hear the story when you were asking about his properties when we bought this 8-plex.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell it.
It's
we were
looking at we bought 2 properties that day.
We were going to view a triplex, and again, like, here's a situation where you know, things just kind of work out. We were going to buy a triplex. We went there. We're on our way back. This is in Bartlett. We're driving down 35, and Matt is saying, "Hey, man, you know, I want to go check out this 8-plex." And I'm sitting here thinking, well, fuck, you know, this is a waste of my...
How are we going to buy an 8-plex?
This is a waste of my time. Like, I can barely, you know, go in on this triplex. But we're driving down there, and he's on the phone with New Western, and we're stuck in traffic. This is before Corona, so there's a lot of Austin traffic. And we're stuck on 35, and we just bought it.
Dude, I'm like, there's a lot of traffic. It's going to take us about an hour to get down there, hour to get back. You want to just buy it?
You want to just buy an 8-plex?
He goes, I trust you. I'm in.
Hey, we got some time to kill. You want to buy 8-plex?
But we knew it was a good deal. $515,000 8-plex. You know the market.
Yeah. No,
like, you can't buy a 4-plex for that,
dude. No, that's
so we bought it sight unseen. We wired him $15,000.
So amazing.
We still own it. Last month was the first month that it really paid us, which was awesome. And,
yeah, that was sweet. We've been dumping $4K, $5K out of our own pocket every single month into that thing.
Because we bought it and we didn't go put in $50K up front.
Right.
We were just paying it through the rent. So, like, we'd have to just keep putting a little money in.
Right.
It's a different strategy. Finally, last month, everything's kind of taken care of. $6K transferred over. We're like, dude, we made it.
Boom.
Next month's going to be $6K again.
Nice.
But it was
hopefully,
cool.
Hopefully more. I mean, that thing's bringing in, 8 times.
No, dude, I've heard y'all talk about that one quite a bit.
That's like one of our favorite deals.
I can't wait, man, because like I'm going to take you up on the whole like I'm going to come meet with y'all at some point. I don't know if y'all get together already and talk some things like or.
My philosophy is, if there's good people and they want to do a deal, let's go. We bought this property with 4 people. We could have bought it with ourselves, but we're like, we'd love to have these other people, and we're not trying to take everything.
I gotta get started, man. Like I've like moving here was a trials and tribulations thing for us. Like we really put ourselves in the hole the first 3 years here because we went from making a lot of money to not making a lot of money.
Kind of starting the business. And
yeah, I mean, starting. I mean, I don't advise anyone move to a totally new city where you don't know anyone and get into real estate.
Unless it's Austin, Texas.
right. I mean, I'm going to tell you, dude, like, it was hard because, we knew 4 people moving here, and one of those already owned the house, and
that's where your role is.
The other
your wife's like, come on, babe, go out and meet people for us.
The other one, I eventually sold the house across the street to, he's our neighbor now, like one of the other 4 people we knew, and then the other one bought a house like right by us too. So like. We didn't know anybody, and it was difficult. So, like, we were transitioning completely and like just draining our bank account basically, and like not putting our funds to good use, still living like we had an income like it was that we had before. And so like we buried ourselves, and then like before we knew it, we were like, holy shit, like we're in major debt. Like, so then like just things just started happening. Like, I kept picking up more photography clients. You know, we switched brokerages, and that was a great thing for us too, because Jamie, when she first got involved, she felt like she needed to be with a big name brokerage because it's going to help her. Like, well, she realized quickly, like, it has nothing to do with the brokerage other than the fact of what kind of support does the brokerage give you, and like how available is your broker? Because if you need help and you're on the phone and you call one of these big brokers and they don't answer and you need help right now, like you don't know what to do, it doesn't do you any good.
Right.
And all the business you drum up realistically anyway, it's coming from you. It doesn't come from a brokerage name. Like nobody is looking at a KW sign and being like, definitely going with them because I've seen that sign around. But that's nothing like that at all. Like it's all personal relationships that you end up developing, and that's one thing we definitely learned. So eventually, like the last year, we've paid off of like a mound of debt, and so like now we're thanks, man. Like it was a big deal to us, and like I had never felt so happy paying a credit card bill in my life when I was paying it off. Because we were wasting so much money on interest, like every month.
17%, 21%.
Stupid stuff.
Yeah,
stupid stuff. And like now, so like we're clear. We're talking about refinancing right now just because rates are so low, and but like we really need to file taxes for this year because this year and last year was great for us, but the previous year was not. So we need to get everything in order to be able to do it. But I mean, all in all, like it's been a big process for us. So like now, like I'm starting to look forward to the future of like, okay, so if I can keep this train rolling, what am I going to do? I paid off a bunch of debt last year, got myself free and clear.
Go get some more debt, some real estate debt.
Now I got to find somewhere else to spend some money. And like, I mean, like I've always had ideas. I've always said to myself, like, man, it'd be amazing to own like, 25 rental properties, and then
what do you want to do with investments?
I don't know. I've always thought to myself as like a rental, like owning rental properties and like having them eventually be paid for or something. I don't know, because I never knew. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. You don't know. So once I got into real estate and I started talking to guys like Matt and a few other guys that are property management owners, like I have a good friend with, like I have to connect you with a couple of my guys.
Yeah, I'd love to. Especially management.
Yeah, so like one of the management guys here is he owns Austin Investors.
Jeff?
Yeah, Jeff.
I love Jeff.
I love Jeff too.
Yeah, Jeff's the man.
Yeah, dude. So like that's somebody y'all should talk to, because like I
talk to him a lot.
I want to sit down with Jeff one day and like same like I want to do with y'all, and like just kind of figure out like, hey, how do you get started? How did you get started? How should I get started? Like, what can I do? Like, this is what I got going on. This is the kind of income I have coming in. This is what I have. Like, where can I start?
What do you think has held you back so far? The debt?
Yeah, man, because debt was a big part of it. Because honestly, man, there was a point in there where I was honestly concerned that we may have to sell our house here in order to pay off debt and start all over again, just because we were struggling. It was a struggle. Like, but then like this again, we were here longer. We kept meeting more people. Me being involved helped a lot because I am the people person. So like it's easier for us to meet people when I'm involved. But because Jamie is the type of person where if she meets you at first, she's very quiet and stuff, and like she doesn't talk a lot. But then when she gets to know you, she'll talk your ear off, and you'll love her. But it takes warming up some. Whereas I'm not that. Like I just want to hear. I want to hear your story. Like I want to hear where you're from. Like how'd you grow up? Like what'd you do? What do you do now? Like how'd you get there? Like same way.
Yeah.
So like now, like I'm trying to figure those things out, and like I work with all these great people that do all these things, and like I'm looking forward to like putting that in action.
It's coming. It's happening.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen because like I'm gonna have to have you like start talking some shit to me or something if I'm not doing it, because
that's what motivates me too.
Because the good thing is that so we have a lot of people that tell us that every day.
I know.
But the thing is that a lot of them don't have a lot of real estate knowledge. You do, right?
Right.
You understand the market. You know what to look for.
But there's still some things with investing that I don't understand. Like I have a great friend that I've been helping buy rental properties for the last year, and like I can crunch those numbers, and like we find something that's good that works and stuff. Like I know when it's a good deal, but like I don't.
Let me tell you a little secret. We don't always. Everything's not always like.
And that's part of the knowledge that I need, though. Like
everything's not always clear cut. It's just, is there opportunity here? Is the opportunity, does it seem greater than the risk? And then if so, then we just go for it. And we don't know what it's going to turn out like. I thought we'd be breaking even on this eightplex. At least we lost, we didn't lose, but just putting $4,000 or $5,000 into the complex every single month. Mattresses stacking up.
Holy
12
shit!
feet,
What do we do? Everyone throws their trash on our property. Not even our property. The whole street uses our corner for mattresses. Like we're getting city calling us.
We had
to pay like somebody like $500 every couple of weeks.
We got a court. We had
our
a
property
letter.
is like the drop spot.
We had a letter from whatever county that is.
Come on, man.
We had a court date on November 2nd. We didn't know about. Yeah. Which we still need to look into.
No, I got it covered.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. So like we don't everything with white brush. The first one we bought, I had no idea, right? And Matt had done this so many times, he probably didn't know exactly what it would look like either. But we know it's a good price. We just pulled the trigger on it, and it's more like act now, secure the property, figure it out later.
Yep.
Step by step, figure it out.
And see, that's the part. So some of the parts, the intricate parts that I need to learn because I don't know those things. I've never dealt with them as an investor, or is like how to utilize like different vehicles to get there, like hard money and things. Some of the things that you guys do, I don't understand that because I've never had to do that. I've only worked with people who have money ready to buy and or able to buy, whereas you guys have like investor mindsets to where you're able to go out and do some things that I can do, but I'm not exactly aware of how to do.
So hard money, fairly. Do you know and understand what it is?
I have a roundabout idea of it, but I would one day like I would still love to have it broken down, which is part of the reason why I would like start talking to like guys like you and Jeff and start figuring some of these things out because I want to plan it. I mean, I don't have to like sit down and plan it meticulously for a year because I'm ready to go. But
hard money is a great option, and we can dive into that now or later. Another great option, which someone who loves talking to people would be great at, is seller financing. I was actually talking to our wholesale team. One of our agents got a $2.7 million property in Steiner Ranch. House is 2 years old. We're not going to be able to wholesale it. This guy wants market value. Close to it. And I was on the phone with them 45 minutes earlier today before our podcast, and he wants to seller finance it to us. And I don't know what his mindset is there, but I said, look, like, here's the benefits to us if we seller finance. I can't pay this value cash for your property. We wouldn't be able to wholesale it. But I'll seller finance it, for near what you want. But here's what's beneficial to me is low down payment, low to no interest rate, time to pay off the loan, and we negotiated down 5 to 7% down on the property. Market for interest rates, which seller financing is not typical. Typically, you're paying a little bit higher,
right?
And he wants to rent it back from us for higher than our mortgages that we're paying him.
That's pretty good.
And wow. I don't know if there's a deal there or not, but. That's the way you could do it. This one, we were initially going to buy it with seller financing. Now he wanted kind of high down payment on that one, but we worked it out, and we were going to buy this duplex with seller financing, but we ended up taking it down with hard money. Hard money kind of sucks.
Well, I mean,
the benefit is like cash now, close the property, and that's
get it done.
Right.
But yeah, no, those are the things that I need to learn, because up until this point, like I've never known anyone that, like again, like nobody in my family owns multiple properties. I was the first person in my immediate family that even graduated high school, and like they all went back and got GEDs and stuff. I'm saying, but I was the first one, and I didn't even put in a lot of effort. It just so happens like I have a great memory, and I'm smart at things, and I figure things out because I like to think. I think to myself a lot. I probably talk to myself a lot. But I just, again, you don't know what you don't know. So like, even though I have a lot of real estate knowledge, like these other vehicles that you guys are, utilizing to be able to buy properties, I'm just now starting to like trying to dig in and learn these things.
My only thought, and I think you're on the right path, and it's kind of like you said, is like there's not. I think you probably know a lot more than you realize.
Oh yeah.
And all you got to do is find a property and give us a call, and we can explain it in 30 minutes. 5 different options and how you should attack it. All you need to know is like, and you understand value. So here's why I want to buy this property, because it's below value and I like it. And then the 4 or 5 options on financing, we'll walk you through it. No problem.
The hardest thing is finding the properties.
Yeah,
to buy.
It is. That's it.
Just digging.
Just find the one that you want. Then the strategy.
Yeah, so are like a lot of the properties y'all are even finding, or are they on MLS, or are they off MLS? Like
they're everywhere.
Both and both. Because
this one had a sign out front for sale by owner. Called it.
Really?
We both came here. We bought it.
Steiner Ranch was a cold call.
We made low offers on MLS and got them tied up.
We bought how many have we bought? We bought a triplex and Dubuque from the MLS.
Yeah,
because dude, I would probably be more interested in the buying stuff like fourplexes and things like that, just because I feel like that's just a better value for
GC.
It just makes sense. It makes
Uncle
sense
G.
though. It makes sense. Like you buy your house, like that's awesome, but if you buy a fourplex and the value of that goes up significantly, it's going to jump a lot higher than what a single house would in most cases.
Cash flow.
Right.
Cash flow.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm interested in
for you. Hey,
I'm interested in learning. Like,
we got your back.
I've been so excited about podcast number 3. It's pissed me off. It was just like, don't talk about it, be about it.
Good, man.
Sons of bitches.
Good.
Well, and here's what we were talking about too, and I think that like Matt said, you do probably know more than. What do you think is holding you back? Like, do you think
I don't think it's anything. He was in a process of getting the debt paid off.
Yeah. I mean, literally, he's
at the early stages.
We just cleared. We just cleared off our debt probably in the last 2 months, really. Yeah. Or we just finished it off in the last 2 months, and we're looking at. We were looking at refinancing our house, and we're looking at other things, and what are we going to do moving forward? And I'm like, well, we're in real estate. We should buy some real estate because, dude, I see too many people that are real estate agents that are out there buying up properties and doing great things with them. Like Jeff, for instance, man. I photographed a 65-acre ranch for him that's out in Fredericksburg.
That's badass.
It's super badass because I was out there in maybe it was April or May or something, and we were actually I was trying to have our 10-year anniversary thing there, which, we were talking about doing it in October, but it kind of got pushed off with COVID and stuff, people not wanting to be in big groups. But it was a 65-acre property. It's got a nice house on it. It's got 5 little cabins and stuff on it. So to sleep 2 people basically. They just put a pool in. I go out there and I shoot it, and I believe his wife's name is Ashley?
Yes.
All right. So, I was talking to them, and I'm like, so what have you been doing? They were like, well, it's been lockdown, so we just been staying out here since all of our Airbnbs out here, canceled. And I'm like, this is a pretty awesome place to be locked down, dude. He was like, oh, yeah. And so I'm talking to him about it, and I'm asking what was the property like, and so those 2 little 2-person cabins that were on there were actually feeder barns for horses or something at one point, and they turned them into little cabins. And he was like, yeah, we bought this as as this, and then we turned it into this. and it's basically like a wedding venue and like
Sick,
whatever
man.
you want it to be. Like, and I'm just like, man, this is how you do it.
I got a RV in my backyard that I'm.
I know.
My first renter is coming tonight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Are you Airbnb-ing it or?
Yeah,
All right,
$50 a night.
I have to keep that in mind when my wife gets mad at me.
Let's talk real quick about your photography business.
Sure.
You're helping realtors, homeowners.
Yeah,
Take picture. You do good quality work.
Thank you. So,
But you like actually like really care. Like you get into it.
I do, and like, here's my thing: is like I've always had the mindset of I like whoever I work with. I make sure that they feel and know that I'm a part of their team. Like, like, hey, if your listing looks bad for you, then I look bad too because I'm a part of this whole ordeal. So like, I communicate with my clients regularly. Like if it's going to be bad weather, I let them know like, hey, the weather's looking bad tomorrow. Let's talk about like, rescheduling. Does it have to be done regardless? I try to help out as much as possible. And that's kind of like another thing that I kind of live by is I just try to be helpful all the time.
Yeah.
Could be my customer service background, like being a manager and owner of restaurants, bars and things, but I just want to help. So like, and on top of that, as far as pricing, I know for a fact that I'm underpriced for what I charge. But here's the thing. I know that, they know that. But I also tell them up front, like, listen, I'm underpriced. I know I'm underpriced. I like doing this, and what I charge is enough money for me. And just so you're aware, I only work with people I like. So, if you're basically a dick to me, then guess what? Bye-bye. Because like I'm not going to work with people like that. Like I will 100% respect you and try to help you all the time. But in return, like you got to respect my time and respect me trying to help you.
Right.
So like I'm adamant about like only working with people that I like.
Nice.
Yeah, I love
Foxhole
that.
people, man. What's the point?
No, but here's the thing. Like I could pull out my phone right now and like show you hilarious text messages from other realtors that are clients and. Because we're friends, like, and we have some good ones. I have to actually show you some of those. But like, those are the kind of relationships I want because those people are not only do they value what I'm doing for them, they also respect my time and they're, dude, photographers are finicky people. I'm in a lot of different real estate photography groups and like social media and stuff, and all of them are all like, people are charging too little, and I'm not moving things around in the house. I'm not touching people's things. If it's not ready when I show up, I'm just going to shoot it as is. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? Like, if you're helping someone try to sell a house and you get there and the house looks like crap,
it makes
like,
your photography look bad.
I mean, why would you just shoot it and charge them? Like, how is that going to work out good for either party? Like, no, well, they'll just have to pay me to go back. I'm like, no, they're not ever going to pay you again. Like,
right.
That's not going to happen. So like, I just try to be helpful and like, I do things that other photographers probably don't, which is, like if I see like a 1985 curtain on the wall and all the rest of them have nice blinds or something, I'll shoot a picture of it and be like, hey, can I take this down for the photos? They're like, oh my God, yes, like please, I thought that was already out of there or something. And I just try to provide as much value as I can with what I do and whenever I do it.
Yep. So it's important, man, just to try and be an expert at what you're doing, and it's fun. Like, why do something if you're not gonna like really care about it?
And that's the other part is like, so me being me, like I've grown my business 100% from basically I've doubled in sales like every year for the going in my fourth year.
It's legit,
and it's all word of mouth. Like I'm in the process now of building a website just because I have a mindset to where I'm ready to grow now. Like I've got my head out of the sand, my neck's above the water. And now I'm ready to go for it and build on something that I've been. But before I couldn't because, I didn't have money to upgrade equipment or things. And I'm still working. I was working on those things. And now I had that and I'm there. And like now I just want to keep pushing forward and meet more people. But I mean, 100% of my business has been referral, which I love because I know that if this agent refers this other agent, it's going to be somebody I want to work with. It's somebody I would like to work with, and somebody I'm not going to have a bad time with.
Right.
Like I have people that like.
This is our new agent handbook. Every agent that
Nice.
joins Tree gets your name.
Top of the list, baby.
Is that the right phone number?
Yeah.
All right, that's you. Every single agent gets your phone number.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't even know we had that like that. It's cool.
Dude, I just try to help people as much as I can because, I mean, dude, it's, you know, like I can relate in every way. I've been the person, I've been the homeowner that's selling a house. So I know what it's like to have to get a house ready to sell. I've been the agent listing the house. So I understand what it's like trying to deal with frantic clients that are trying to get a house ready. And some of the things you have to go through, like, to actually get the house ready and on the market, you know, properly. Like, because, man, I have a few agents that I've worked with, and that, you know, every time I show up, they're like, nothing's ever ready, and I mean, they're not helping themselves, and like, so I sit them down and I explain to them, like, look, this is how you should do this, and just try to help them.
Sure.
And eventually they understand that point of it, because, like, look, your photos are 100% going to be the one thing that draws people in.
Right. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal, because I can tell you right now, like, when people are scrolling through and looking at, you know, a very vibrant, like, well-lit photo, and then they're, you know, scrolling across another house and they see a house that's like got a very dim lit house or something. Most times people pass over those, man. Like,
So I'm the opposite. Every time I see really vibrant, nice photos, I'm like, shit, this isn't the deal.
This is out of my price range.
They know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're exactly right. And I would think the same thing, because if I saw the dark photos, I would think to myself, like, okay, well, this house is either beat up and they didn't want to spend money on photography, so it may be a good deal for me, or B, you know, it's probably not going to get a lot of traffic because of the photos. So, like, this is something I might be able to work on, because it's not going to get as much traffic as these other houses with the bright. Like,
No,
photos.
they really do make the world of the difference. It's everything. It is the marketing for the house. If you have bad pictures, or a photographer didn't do a good job, or if you took them with your iPhone,
Right.
I mean, I always see those pictures on the MLS of homes that have pictures taken that are in motion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes it look horrible. But when you have those nice pictures with, what do they call it? The window pools?
Oh, yeah.
The window pool, and you got like the sunset in the
Perfectly-
background. Like it makes it look amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and another part now too is, like, so, you know, I initially got involved with Matterport first, and so, like, you know, there's video. I do video. I do drone video, drone aerials, and sometimes all those things make sense. Sometimes they don't. It just depends, because sometimes I have some agents that will max market every single property they do, and their logic behind that is like, for one, they don't spend a ton of money with me when they do that compared to, like, some other places. And B is, like, whenever they sit down with their next listing appointment, they're, you know, like, laying it out. Like, look, these are all the things I do to help market your home. You know, I have a great photographer I work with. He helps me do things. And, like, another big one is, like, Matterport since COVID was huge, because, man, I was as busy as I could be during when the lockdown happened, because all these agents had listings on the market and they couldn't show them because nobody could go see them, basically. So I was just getting, like, constant calls about from referrals of people referring me in groups about going to Matterport, and so I was showing up doing them, and then, like, you know, some of those clients, if I look up some of them and see if they're, like, are they busy listing agents, or are they just, like, list, you know, like, one home a year? And when I see one who's listed multiple homes, like, in a year, you know, I'll go ahead and photograph the house on top of that, even though they already have photos, and deliver, like, a property website along with it too. Nice. And just be like, listen, this is what I do. This is how I do it. I just wanted to show you, like, on a home that you already had listed, so you can see the difference, and, you know, show you what I can do compared to whatever you're using. And, you know, sometimes, like, agents have personal relationships with their own photographers, and I'm cool with that. Like, if that's the case, I don't step on people's toes. You know, I'll never badmouth another photographer. Just like I don't badmouth other agents to clients. I might badmouth another agent to another agent or something, like, you know, but never, like, to a client, or same thing with the photographers, though, because it's not my style. Like, I want my work to be the reason why I get hired, or our relationship to be the reason why I get hired, not, you know, me talking trash about somebody else.
Your work, not your
yeah,
words.
yeah.
I like that.
I'm not that dude. So I'll always take an opportunity to be your backup photographer. Like, hey, all right, you got one? That's cool. If you ever can't make it one day or something, need another one, I'm happy to help out. And I phrase it just like that because I'm happy to help. And so a lot of times once people work with me and they get to see how I do things and, they see my workflow and the products, then they call back because they get a lot for I don't know. I feel like I'm a bargain.
I love it, man. Well, let's call it for today.
Yeah.
If you need to take some pictures or want to have a cool guy to drink a beer with, D's the man. How can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me on my cell phone. I'm happy to give that phone. It's 512-731-6329. Or you can also email me at D, like the letter D, .martin@solid-photography.com.
Let's go, baby. Thank you, D. Appreciate your time, man.
Thanks to be here.
Thank you, D.
Thank you.